Why do some apartment buildings require renters insurance? Many leases offered by building owners and landlords require the tenant carry renters insurance. The intent of landlord requiring a tenant to carry insurance is primarily because of two exposures. 1. Loss to the tenant's personal property. A. Having your own insurance for your own stuff reduces the potential of a suit against a landlord from a tenant. A tenant being reimbursed for the loss of their belongings would reduce the exposure of the landlord being sued for the property loss. 2. Liability loss. In a tenant building, there can be incidents when either the building owner or tenant can be at least in part negligent for bodily injury to others or to property damage to the building caused by the renter. The tenant having their own liability insurance helps to spread the risk among multiple carriers and does make the landlord the deep pocket for every injury circumstance. A tenant who acts irresponsibly and is liable for damages to the property can in some instances be pursued through their renter's insurance for those damages. 3. Sure. They are worried about getting sued. So should the renter. 4. The building owner, landlord does not want to be the only party that is pursued in the event of the loss. Requiring tenant to carry renter's insurance spreads the risk to those who may also shoulder some of the responsibility. 5. Wow, I just read a bunch of the other answers, and many of them are wrong. 6. The building owner will be carrying insurance for the things that the building owner actually owns. The building owner cannot get insurance for that which the building owner does not own, namely, tenant personal possessions such as furniture, clothing, electronics, etc. 7. So renter's insurance is supposed to cover tenant possessions. 8. Now, let's look at what else renter's insurance covers. Tenant starts a fire causing significant damage to property, and tenant was negligent in starting said fire. Renter's insurance covers the tenant for this sort of liability. The landlord's insurer will take care of the landlord, then the landlord's insurer will go after the negligent party. 9. What else can go wrong? Something causes the rental unit to temporarily be uninhabitable. Renter's insurance can see to it that the tenant can have a place to stay while the unit remains uninhabitable. A lease will usually only prorate rent for days when unit is uninhabitable, and that prorated rent won't be enough to get a hotel room. 10. Renter's insurance also covers the tenant for damage that a tenant's guest causes. 11. The landlord will be getting sued. The landlord carries insurance to cover the various things that arise and lead to being sued. Renter's insurance doesn't stop lawsuits. 12. This is the building manager offloading some of their property risk that is caused by mistakes you or your guests make when in the apartment. If you leave the kitchen stove on and it causes damage to the apartment, they would much rather you pay for it with your liability insurance than for them to foot the bill. 13. The building managers are generally responsible for damages to the exterior of the building. Think hail, wind damage, lightning, etc. However, they can claim that a specific incident that happened inside the apartment is not their responsibility. But if they tried to make you pay for the $100,000 in damages for that fire you started, they know you probably cannot afford to pay. You are renting after all, so they make the renter buy insurance ahead of time, to make sure they can collect in the rare chance there are severe damages while you are a tenant. 14. You are of course responsible for your personal contents inside the apartment. If there is a water leak and all your stuff is damaged, your insurance would cover that. 15. If you don't have insurance, you'd probably like to blame the landlord and get them to pay for it. And they don't want that. With insurance, your insurance company pays your claim and then they may or may not decide to try and get it back from the building owner's insurance, but at that point it is out of your hands and the two insurance companies can wrangle it out for themselves.